You have been part in, Robert, in a lot of amazing collaborations throughout the years, and your solo in St. Elmo's Fire is just transcendent. Do you have any insider tips as far as your mindset collaborating with other musicians?
I will give you the answer to that question if you sing me the first 4 bars of the guitar solo of St. Elmo's Fire.
I'm a singer, but not a guitar singer.
Thank you. All right. David has a comment on this too.
Robert comes alive in interesting circumstances, which is, I think, why he thrives in collaborations, because you have a different, each person creates a different environment, each of the collaborations. And the first time I realized this was when Bobby Wilcox played a solo on a song that I'd written for Camilla's Little Secret. We put it up, and Robert hadn't heard the piece before. And it's a completely new environment. It's a pop song, so it's actually a very different environment. And Robert has an ability in those moments just to pull wonder out of the air. It's astonishing. And I think that is why the collaborations all work so well, because each of them is a very, very different world. Robert can talk about the world that Brian Eno creates for him, or the world with David Sylvian. There was recently one with The Grid, but actually that was a very different collaboration, because it was them working with Robert after the fact, as opposed to Robert performing with them. Our distributor in England commented that Robert has made more use of the ampersand than any other artist in history. You know, Fripp and. So, yes.
What I love about working with other people is that they present me contexts which I would not conceive for myself. Which, of course, is why we work with other people. Now, some people can bring more to the table than others. How and why? Simply in their presence and the way they breathe the air. And if we breathe the air around someone who is creative, we ourselves become more creative. I have been very fortunate to work with some stunners. Eno is probably my first collaboration. And Brian said, well, would you like to come around one evening? So I said yes, took my guitar and pedal board without knowing why. It was a social visit. And so we were just, he said, well, would you like to come into the next room? And I went into the next room, and there were 2 Revoxes set up. And he said, well, would you like to plug in? And bear in mind, none of this was planned, and I still have no idea why I took a guitar and pedal board. So I plugged into my pedal board, into the Revoxes, Brian Byrne recording, and I played an F sharp. And that's the beginning of side 1 of No Pussyfooting. Brian said nothing, he explained nothing, but after about 18 minutes he said, well, would you like to play over it if I wind it back? So I said yes, and 40 minutes later we had side 1 of No Pussyfooting. Now, another example of a character who brings something to the table. David Bowie. Another character. Peter Gabriel. Another character. Daryl Hall. Other characters. The Roaches. Yay! And on we go. And on we go. I have been asked to record with people, and they brought nothing to the table and wondered why I was so pitiful. Well, the answer is they expected me to do it. Well, come on then. Come on then. With Eno, there's always laughs. There is always, I was tuning up and he began recording it. And I begged him to stop and let me actually tune up and begin again. But there would have been another album. You see? So there we are. I love working with my wife and Simon Darlow in Posh Pop, because once again, it's an entirely different context to one I would conceive for myself. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for this inspiration.